Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. I am your host today, Peter, with my co-host,
Chief Earth.
Jackie!
And we have a special guest with us.
Mark.
Wait, Mark?
Yeah.
Please, introduce yourself so our fellow Yodelers will know who you are.
Because we know you.
Yeah. I am married to Jackie. I am Jackie's man.
Yes, he is.
Man.
And you may be wondering, why is Mark joining us? This is about the siblings. Why is this outsider here? Well, because Jackie wanted him here because today we are talking about Star Wars. Talking about Star Wars. That's right. Today we've got a special Star Wars episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. I know I'm excited for this. I know at least my brother's excited.
Oh, I've got the biggest smile on my face. I love Star Wars.
And I tapped in my husband because I'm so on Star Wars knowledge.
I like Star Wars, yeah. I mean, growing up with it and everything, and I remember we had like an Empire Strikes Back VHS that I watched the heck out of all the time, so.
I still remember we had the trilogy in this box set, and what made it special, I know it has a special term, but like at the very beginning of each movie, there's a little side conversation with George Lucas and Leonard something. He always does all these like interviews and
Leonard Moulton?
Yes,
Something
Leonard
like that,
Moulton,
yeah.
yes, and like it's just only like 5 minutes where they briefly talk about A New Hope, Empire, and it was like, oh, you get a little behind the scenes. That was like my first like special features moment for Star Wars that I got
In the
into.
90s.
In the
Oh,
90s.
yeah.
Yeah, I gotta remember.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
In the 90s.
In the 90s.
Before DVDs. So,
Yeah.
Special features, yeah.
Before like all the re-releases too.
yep, before special edition.
Special edition, hell man.
This generation has no clue.
They have no clue.
No clue.
They don't know
about
what Yub Yub is.
Oh man.
So, let me go around, and I know Jackie's so about Star Wars, but you are more than welcome to answer, because your perspective is also welcome. Even though if you say anything negative, we will throw you in the Sarlacc pit.
Your Christmas gifts will reflect as a result of your answers.
So, let's start things off. So, what brought you into the world of Star Wars? Let's start with Mark.
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, like, I think I touched on it a little bit earlier. It's just I grew up with it. I have 5 older brothers who are all, like, fans of Star Wars. I got to play with all their old Star Wars toys. In fact, the one I remember the most was the Rancor. Except the Rancor already had his arms, like, torn off. And so... But his mouth worked. It had, like, a little lever you could pull, and you'd go... You know, fun stuff like that. We get together and have, like, all these... You know, Star Wars battles with all our Star Wars toys and stuff.
That's what you do with Star Wars.
That's what you
For
do.
sure.
You
Like,
have
as a
epic-
boy, you just create a new universe for those toys.
Right.
Absolutely.
And like I said, it's just like we had like episode 4 and episode 6 recorded off of TV, and but my brother Bob had actually gotten Empire Strikes Back as a birthday present, and so just remember watching those movies all the time. Except like Return of the Jedi, we didn't catch it in time when we recorded it, and so it had like the first little bit cut off of it. So, but just like being drawn into like, you know, the Force and Jedis is just like I wanted to be Luke Skywalker when I was a kid, and just being, you know, caught up in the whole fantasy of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, Star Wars was introduced in my life because my father and obviously my 2 Yoda brothers, because they were obsessed with it. So
That's a nice way of saying that.
That's polite.
Yeah, I would think so.
So, if they were watching Star Wars on the TV, I was watching Star Wars on the TV. And, they had all these cool Star Wars action figures, so I would want to play with these cool Star Wars toys.
Which you didn't.
Nope.
I
Not
had-
that much.
I had some.
Yes, you did. You did have some.
And so that's how Star Wars was started in my life.
For me, like Mark said, we had recorded versions on VHS tapes, and I remember watching them when I was younger. But Star Wars blew up the day my dad took me to the Cine Capri Harkins Theater, the original one. There was one theater. It doesn't exist anymore, and I watched all 3 movies in one day. So we lived in the movie theater for an entire day.
It's not an easy thing to do.
No. But we went there, and I remember the first movie, we didn't get any snacks, but after that, there's an intermission between the next one, and we got popcorn. And that was, to get popcorn at the movie theater, that was huge. And then watching Empire Strikes Back, and then I got to get a snack. Like, I got gummy bears. I got the Black Forest gummy bears, and I was like, this is the greatest thing. At this age, I'm probably at 8 or 9. I'm somewhere around there.
It was about 93 or 94.
It was somewhere around there. Yeah, it was, I would say, in that time period. So it was before they did the remastered Redux version of it. And I watched all 3, and it was an amazing experience. Because this movie, Cine Capri, was the biggest movie theater in town. And so it just blew up, where I had this special day with Dad, and these movies are just fun. I remember watching them and liking them, but to see them in the theater, it just brought it to life. And it blew up from there, where you have the toys, the video games, Dad playing X-Wing on his old Dell computer.
Yes.
And then we got our own computer in 95, and then there was the X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and then the N64 video games, and then books.
You got into the books.
I got
big
into
time.
the books, and the universe kept growing. It wasn't just 3 movies, it was the universe around it, where I read a book about the Mos Eisley Cantina, where I read like a chapter on each character that you see for a second in the movie, and I enjoyed it.
That was actually one of my favorite books that I read. That was a great book.
It's a great book, because you read it and you're like, it brings the whole scene to life. A scene that's great in itself.
You think of Greedo so much different.
Yeah.
After reading
You're like,
that
poor
section.
guy. He just wanted his jacket back. And so that's what really drew me into this universe, is that it's always expanding and growing like the real universe. Yeah. And so that's why I enjoy, and that's what has brought me, and I continue to enjoy Star Wars. There's still love and hate, but I love it still.
Yeah, for me, very similar. I mean, I unfortunately did not make it to that Cine Capri trip. I apparently decided to go see Beauty and the Beast on ice. Biggest regret of my life, I guess. I didn't see Star Wars in the Cine Capri. But no, I think my passion drew on it because you were into it a lot, Japheth. That, I wanted to be like my older brother. So I wanted the things that he liked. Then we got in elementary school. I continued to watch the movies, but I didn't have that obsession with it per se.
You didn't see episode 1 9 times in the movie theater?
Well, don't be wrong. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So I had a friend in elementary school who he was, and in my opinion, probably the biggest Star Wars fanatic that I know.
It's okay, name drop him.
His name's Austin. And so I'll make sure he listens to this episode because I'm calling him out. But Austin, he had the biggest Star Wars toy collection ever. He was one of my closest friends.
Super fan.
Super fan.
I felt inferior to his fandom.
Yes. And maybe
And
one
then the
of these
internet came out, I was like, oh, okay, he's normal.
he's like this mid-range of fandom in comparison, absolutely. But yeah, he kind of like brought Star Wars into a new light for me, to a point where, you know, this is kind of showing how pathetic I was in elementary school.
Show us how pathetic.
I was so pathetic that, like, you know, some recesses when I didn't really have anyone to play with because I was that kid that didn't really have a lot of friends, I would almost feel like the Force was real, and I would sit, like, meditate, trying to, like, harness the powers of the Force. Like,
I don't know why you didn't have any friends.
like, that was just, like, I had grown an appreciation and understanding of, like, how the Force is and, like, how it can be a positive force in my life. And so, and it just became a part of my life. You know, the action figures was a big part of, you know, our dad. He had decorated an entire Christmas tree with Star Wars toys.
I love how he had the rotating ornament
Of the Probe Droid.
of the probe droid, the spy, and I was like, that just blew me. I was like, Dad just took Christmas to another level.
Yeah, that was like...
Can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And you're a kid, you're like 10 years old, and you're just like, there's a spy, you know, action figure, which we didn't have at the time.
No, there
Yeah,
were brand
out
new
there.
toys on the tree for Christmas. And so, like...
Oh my gosh.
It was the coolest Christmas tree ever. And so, you know, and then, you know, when the prequels came out, I was all on board for it. And I'm, still a fan today.
Yeah, I remember as a family we would go to the midnight premieres to the prequels.
For the prequels, yes.
Oh, I remember doing that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm glad they don't do those anymore. I fell
Yeah.
asleep in Attack of the Clones.
Well, that was
Oh, well.
I was actually the last. I think that was the last midnight movie that Dad went to with us. That I remember. My dad might correct me, but because for episode 3 we decided to do a 3:00 in the morning showing so that we can sleep a little bit and then go watch
oh
the movie.
gosh, I remember when they did that.
yeah. No.
So
thank you.
I actually that wasn't too bad. I got a little nap in and then got into the crowd here. So, all right. Well, let's move on. Let's find out what's your favorite and or least favorite character. Mark.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think my favorite character has always been Luke Skywalker. I remember as a kid I wanted to do my hair the same way that Luke had it. And I always thought he was cool, lightsabers and all that. As for, like, least favorite character, Jar Jar. I know that's a popular one.
He's an easy one.
Cop out.
So what? Well, it's just like, of all the Star Wars characters, like, I can get into, like, their backstory and everything, and for Jar Jar, I just have no desire to know any more about him.
Jar Jar, you're in big trouble. That wasn't enough for you?
No.
I mean, I just saw that. I was like, hey, what did he do? Like, he can't
Yeah.
even come back. He's exiled.
But, I mean, just, like, also just, like, growing up and playing, like, the video games and stuff, like, he would be in a lot of them. Like, I remember his cameo, spoilers, for Shadows of the Empire. I was like, oh, it's Luke!
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't do this. Yeah, this is a spoiler episode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're not familiar with a lot of the Star Wars, you know, plot
You've
lines
had
and
you've
everything.
had your time. If you were really a fan and you really cared, you would have been done with it by
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to put that out there. Like, I will be going into things probably then.
Oh, yeah.
All right, sorry.
But yeah, just like, then he would show up, and it's just like, it felt like his story was a lot more fleshed out than a lot of other characters, because he's the first main character of the Star Wars.
Yes.
So, but yeah.
I would say one of my favorites are like the clone troopers because they're just like clumsy, but they're also there's like some funny moments.
Are you talking about the Clone Wars series?
No, like
Or the-
You talk about the
stormtroopers.
droids.
Sorry,
Talk about the droids.
no, stormtroopers.
Oh,
Stormtroopers. Okay.
Sorry,
I was like, how
misspoke.
dare you? Those clones, right?
Clones,
Oh
which
my
clones?
gosh.
They are superior.
How
fighting.
dare you? How dare you?
I was like, you have not watched Attack of the Clones. They are valiant soldiers and fighters for this great republic.
I'm
They are
sorry.
skilled warriors!
I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Aren't you glad I let you stay on this episode?
Yeah.
It's okay, honey. I still love you.
Yeah.
See the beads of sweat. I don't want to do this anymore. Instant regret.
Yeah, so I love stormtroopers. They're cool. They're funny, and like that they can't shoot like a moving target. That's great.
Even a still target.
Even a silver.
That's what's funny about it. Somebody did a picture of like an invisible where you put the head under the helmet and you see where the eyes are.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you can't see out the eyes if you're a normal person.
It explains everything.
Oh, okay. Poor design.
But badly designed helmets. Okay.
I forgive them now.
And my least favorite character, I cannot think of his name.
Just describe
It's
it. We'll
guess
know
who.
exactly.
Guess who.
Oh, okay. Guess who this is? Disgusting.
Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba the.
There we go.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he grosses me out. Don't like him.
Exactly.
But like when like Princess Leia is choking him, that
Oh,
Yep, just
take
throw it in
BDSM
there.
to a whole new level right there. All right, my turn. Favorite characters. Okay, I've got many. My favorite character in the universe is Grand Admiral Thrawn. He is a character originally from Timothy Zahn books that came out in the early 90s, Heirs of the Empire. And he makes an appearance in the Rebels TV show. He's also, those books originally were in the Legends storyline universe. For those who don't know, Disney took over Star Wars, and whatever was done prior, book-wise and story-wise, besides the movies and the Clone War movie or TV shows, have become Legends. And now there's Disney Canon, which is the Star Wars story. Disney has brought Thrawn from Legends into canon, and I love the character. They've brought new books, and that's how I really got back into Star Wars recently. It's because I read Thrawn's book, and he's like a Sherlock Holmes military mind. I love the character. He's great. I want more of him. Next comes Darth Vader. Love his power. Just love how he commands the room. He's choking people in business meetings. Everybody has been in a meeting, and there's that like snide guy there in the corner, and you in your Zoom meeting are choking them. You know, hokey religion. I'll show you hokey religion. You know, just everybody wants to do that one time or another in a meeting. And then there's Palpatine. I love.
You like the bad guys, huh?
You're
You're all in for the bad
I'm
guys.
into the bad guys. They're just the strategy, the deception. He is such a good villain where he pulls one over on the whole universe, and it's great. Least favorite character, Rose Tico. For those who don't know where she is in Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. She is the love interest of Finn, I guess. I don't know.
Not even that.
It's a horrible developed character.
Over.
She's just,
Yeah.
she was poorly written. I think she's poorly acting as well. She just overacts, and it kind of kills the character even more. And I'm kind of glad they kind of minimized her part in The Rise of Skywalker.
The thing that really like I don't necessarily have an issue with how she portrayed the role. This is more about the writing of the movie, is that I really wish they didn't have her save Finn.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think it would have been a better story arc to have Finn sacrifice himself for the cause, but they had to throw this whole thing of like, we do this for the ones we love scene, and so
Which doesn't materialize to anything. You
Right.
could delete Rose out of this whole movie. The Last Jedi, and the movie would continue on without her.
It would.
Yeah.
You know, that's it for me. Like, I don't like her. And then, of course, Jar Jar Binks. Sad story with Jar Jar Binks in the Aftermath books, which are a book series that take place
Heard
after
about
Return,
this.
Return of the Jedi. He is so sad because he let Palpatine deceive and turn the Republic into an empire. He juggles and he tries to be like a roadside clown in Naboo to just cheer people up for all the bad things he did. And I was like, wow, the writer is cruel. Takes this hated character and they just give him a miserable existence. It was like,
That's canon.
it is there where it's accepted where and I was like, I mean, I like the theories about him being a Sith.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of fun.
I
You
love
look
that.
at the different. I'm like, oh, he's a Sith and he plays stupid the whole entire time.
It would have made his
Genius.
character so much more interesting, and like it would have given his character more of a purpose in the overall story of Star Wars.
Yes.
If he were actually a Sith, but
He's not.
oh well.
He's just a hands-off.
He's just a goofy
sad
character
character.
that dies alone, unhappy.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's when storytelling changes where you're trying to market for a specific audience instead of just having a
Right.
good storytelling. And that's where Star Wars kind of like loses its. That's why the prequels may not be as good as the originals in some people's eyes. So, my character choice, Peter.
Yeah, so I have at least two that came to my mind when I thought of the question. Was the first one would be R2-D2. Probably, in my opinion, the most important character in all of Star Wars, because all of the event, if you take a look at all the movies and the role that R2-D2 played in every single movie, not including the sequel trilogy, well, there were some aspects where he was very important, but he played a very integral part of each movie that if he was not there, it would have impacted the entire storyline.
That's true.
a
I
good
agree.
point.
I like
True.
that.
So he is a very essential character. That's why I'm a little bummed the way they kind of treated his character in the sequel trilogy.
Do you like BB-8?
Not really.
I love BB-8.
I wish.
He's cute.
I mean, I get the point of why they brought BB-8 in, but I prefer myself some R2.
Okay. R2 guy.
Yeah, I am. I'm an R2 guy. But my other guy would be Yoda. He's just the very wise. I like Yoda from Empire Strikes Back. I want to make that clear.
Yes.
Yoda from Empire Strikes Back. Not so much from the prequel trilogy, but Empire Strikes Back specifically.
Do you like him in the Clone Wars series? The cartoon series?
Whatever.
Okay.
I mean, there's
So
aspects.
Empire Strikes Back is...
Empire Strikes Back specifically is I like that Yoda.
Okay.
He's got great one-liners that people still throw out
I
today.
actually have a little book. Somebody's giving me a...
There is no pride.
Yes.
You will be.
I do them all the time.
Be.
Just the focus. You're like, dang, this is a serious test right here.
You will be.
I would be scared.
That's probably my favorite line Yoda says. You will be.
It's like, why does he pick a spot where it's so dark, you know, where he's like, oh yeah, don't pay attention to my, like, this dark portal into the dark side over here that I live next to, but...
Okay. So this next one, we're going to kind of rush this one because I don't think it will need too much time to explain. But we're going to say your favorite film and your least favorite film. Mark.
Okay, my favorite film, Empire Strikes Back, and my least favorite, probably Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. That's the name of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like it. You can tell I don't like it that much because I can't remember the name.
There was clones.
There were clones!
and There was an attack.
And they can complain about sand.
uh,
It has
only thing good is the
the least
Reddit.
romantic love story of all time.
Oh gosh.
For me, I love episode 7,
It's great.
It's a good film. I do
good
enjoy
film.
episode 7.
and I don't like episode 2. No.
Okay,
Okay, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
understandable.
I am with Mark. Emperor Strikes Back.
Yeah.
It's just, you've already got the intro. I always like a sequel to a movie because I already got the character development going. I already got the character foundation built, so like the movie just builds, and it's just great. You got a good love story of Han and Leia going there where you're like, whoa. And the best line of just like every relationship's like, I love you. And there's always somebody who's a Star Wars fan who goes, I know. Every time. I mean, I go back and forth with my wife with those memes, you know.
Right.
Again, I'm with Mark. That's why I welcome him with open arms into this family. Attack of the Clones. The scene, just so many bad scenes in it.
So awkward.
Until you get to the very end. Where you get all the cool lightsabers, because I'm mad at Peter when we saw the midnight showing. He's right next to me, and I fall asleep, and I wake up, and Yoda's got a lightsaber. I'm like, what the heck?
I was focusing on the movie. I was trying to stay awake myself, trying to pay attention.
And I fell asleep the first time watching the midnight showing. It was so cool to see all the lightsabers and seeing more than one or two Jedis in the same scene with lightsabers fighting. That was cool, but it's not enough to carry a movie. It's enough to carry my attention for 10 minutes on YouTube. And so, unfortunately, that makes it a least favorite.
Very good. Mine, I like Return of the Jedi. I love that one. It's probably the most fun of all the Star Wars movies. There's a lot more fun adventures. It's got its subtle comedy throughout the whole thing.
You walk on a speeder.
Yeah, it's funny, it's exciting, it's dramatic. It's in my opinion the whole package. I know a lot of people like kind of poo-poo on it because of the Ewoks, and it's the ending of the story of Darth Vader. But you know what? I like when stories end. I'm one of those people that, like, I know our dad, he likes the beginning. He likes the start of stories. That's why he likes Fellowship of the Ring. He likes A New Hope. I like the ending. I loved Return of the Jedi. I loved Rise of Skywalker. Like, I loved the completion of storylines. So that was my favorite. And my least favorite, I'm going to join the bandwagon and hate on Attack of the Clones.
Beat that cow or that dead horse.
You know, there's a lot of hate for Episode 1.
It's not as bad as 2.
I enjoy Episode 1. Like, it's still a fun movie. Like, I know a lot of people like to, what's the point of the pod racing? Because it was cool. That's the point.
Literally the point.
Like,
you know, like you got a cool curse word that your parents get mad at you about.
You either watch that scene in a movie theater or with a good sound system and just have the whole room shake with the pod racer.
Broom, broom, broom.
Yeah, like, it is the greatest feeling ever. So.
And then when you get to play it on a video game system,
Oh,
you're just
great
blown
game.
away.
Forget about it.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys obsessed with the pod racer game.
Oh yeah, we had the codes to make us invincible, and we were like
Boost, boost, boost.
trying to like get the fastest record for the first map.
It was like 28 seconds or something.
It was ridiculous.
You just hope you made that like the
narrow crack.
narrow, yeah. You try to make it through. Once you hit the wall, you're like, no, reset. Got to start all over. Yes, definitely.
Okay, so let's jump in here. What would you say? There's a scene in Star Wars, and if not, maybe get emotional, but maybe make you smile.
Well, I think for me, I think about like Episode 4 when Luke is still on Tatooine. And, you know, he's all frustrated with his life. He has a lot of teenage angst. And he looks at the two sons. And the music swells with John Williams' music. And it's just like, oh. I remember, like, watching that after I graduated high school. And I'm just like, oh, I get it now. I just felt like this. It's like, oh, yeah, this is why Star Wars is great.
My eyes burn from staring at the sun. Why?
It just reminds me of, because John Williams makes Star Wars, it just reminds me of the YouTube video of, like, Star Wars without John Williams. And it's like the scene of the throne, of the award ceremony with, Luke and Han with no music at all. It is the most awkward yet most hilarious video I've ever watched related to Star Wars.
Oh, man.
You just get the random person coughing in the background, like, and it's just like this echo chamber, and then just random Chewie going.
That's so great. I love that scene.
That was so. I would recommend anyone look it up on YouTube. Star Wars without John Williams. It is hilarious.
Because originally George Lucas wanted classical music with it, and Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg's like, no, I got this guy for you.
Yeah.
And it's the best guy ever.
Right. It's just like, yeah, seriously, like John Williams makes that movie so much more epic than it actually is. Because if you actually look at it, it's kind of like pretty mild, like the adventure they go on, but just like John Williams just really pulls you in, and especially like at that moment, it's just like, okay, I'm in.
It is truly, though. I agree. The music makes it.
For me, just because, when the new trilogy came out, there was a gap period of, Star Wars.
No, there wasn't. Never. The universe is always expanding. Consistent. No, I'm sorry. Movie-wise, yes, I get it.
Yes, movie-wise,
For the normal fan.
Yes.
The average fan.
the casual viewer.
Casual viewer, yes.
There was a gap, right? And so when I saw episode 7, you saw all the original, characters come back, like when Han and Chewie get back on to the...
Oh, yeah, what a moment.
and he goes, oh, Chewie, we're home. And it's just like, oh.
That was
Yes.
totally written for the fans. Without
Oh,
a
yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I ate it up.
That was
Big
I-
spoon. Yeah! Oh, no, we're home. Yeah! Give me more.
So yeah, just like when they were bringing back the original characters, just, it just puts a huge smile on my face of like, oh, this brings back, when I was a kid and watching as a family, and now I can live through that again.
All right. So we're doing favorite scenes, or are we also going to do emotional scenes?
We're doing emotional right now.
Okay.
Emotional or a scene that made you smile.
Oh, boy. The scene that made me smile the most was Darth Vader slicing up all those rebel scum in Rogue One.
That was crazy.
That was,
Yes.
I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this is the true power of the
Vader.
dark side, of Vader. You don't get that in the original trilogy. And you see it in comic books, and you get a little bit in Rebels, but, like, you got to see, like, this guy is the bad guy of the galaxy, and you're like, I could watch 2 hours of this dude just slashing at people or doing, fighting, Jedi. That's what was, I just love that. That perked me right up going, this movie is awesome for just this scene. It makes up for the bad dad joke of like, don't choke on your aspiration.
That's probably the one line that took me out of that movie. Was Punny Vader. Like, yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was a funny
Vader.
line, but it took me out for sure. But I will agree. I think that's like the first scene in a Star Wars movie where Darth Vader actually uses his lightsaber against a non-Jedi.
Ooh, interesting. Never thought
Yeah.
about that.
Uses his lightsaber.
True. Could I do my emotional scene?
Your emotional scene.
Well, Han Solo dying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And then seeing the movie a second time and seeing when Han and Leia meet up for the first time, knowing that Han is going to say goodbye. Oh, that just eats me up. And then when Chewie is wailing and mourning for Leia. I thought that was appropriate because we had just lost Carrie Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
Or she died in the
She
previous
died
movie.
a couple.
But that was the
years
first time the
prior, yeah.
movies can actually, share the death of
Mm-hmm.
the character and the actress.
You can also
appropriately.
look at it from Chewbacca's perspective.
Disney
all
killed
his-
off all our characters.
all of his closest friends have now passed on. Who's he left with? C-3PO and R2-D2, which I don't think he really had that much of a relationship with either
Right.
one.
Yeah, 3PO was pretty rude to him when he was putting them together.
Exactly. So, okay, so for me, mine was my emotional one was definitely seeing Chewbacca fall down to his knees when he finds out Leia passed away. Like, I was bawling so much during that movie. I'm getting emotional just talking about it. Okay, guys? Like, it was that impactful to me. Like,
You hope somebody wails about you when you die.
right. You want someone to be like, no!
So when you die, you want like us to dress in Chewbacca
Absolutely.
mask and just scream.
That would be
in
the
funeral.
best thing ever.
Okay, I've got
That's
an
what
idea
I
now.
want.
All right, we can do that.
That's what I want.
So when my
I'll
wife
tell
asked
my-
me, like, why are you getting this Chewbacca mask? I'm like,
This
for
is
Peter's
his
funeral.
This is his last wish. His dying wish is that at his funeral we will roar like Chewbacca.
I love it.
Okay.
I love this.
Consider it done.
I'm not a fan of funerals, but this one will be epic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But definitely a scene that makes me happy, that makes me smile, is that scene in Return of the Jedi when Luke Skywalker, like, he just beat down Darth Vader and the Emperor's all like, yeah, strike him down. And he goes, I'll never turn the dark side. I am a Jedi, like my father before me. Like, that moment of, like, he's made that decision in his life to, like, no, I will not to succumb to evil. And he throws it away. And, like, obviously the Emperor has this, like, so be it, Jedi. But that scene always makes me smile, that moment of, like, no, I will not let you win. You will not be.
But he would have won if Darth Vader didn't, like, Daddy, help me! He's like, Father, help!
Yes, very true.
So
very
pick your
true.
fights wisely. If you tell someone you're not going to work with them. Daddy, please.
All right, so I'm gonna go one more question here. We got one more question. We're gonna go with a fun one. If you could have any job in the Star Wars universe, whether it be you could be a janitor, you could be the guy that works on the railing at the Death Star that has no railing, entering the computer next to the giant super laser. Like, what job?
So are we like a character in the universe, or are we like a job in the making of Star Wars? The question.
job in the universe.
Oh, in the universe. Oh, okay.
You are
That's totally
a character.
what I
You
wanna
are
do.
a person in the universe. Or like, what do you want to do?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. I'd probably work in a cantina, listen to all the stories all across about adventures all throughout the galaxy. Plus, I'd just be, hey, I'll be talking like this. Come on!
Good old water voice.
Hey, what'll it be? Yeah, come on.
The Tridarians. Those Jedi mind tricks don't work on us.
Money, no money, no pots, no deal.
They're the Ferengis of
Oh.
Star Wars.
Absolutely is the Ferengi of Star Wars.
But yeah, that'd be super fun. It would not be fun cleaning up after people get shot and whatnot, because that happens a lot.
This is true.
Or like when Obi-Wan cuts off that one guy's arm. What a mess.
That's why you got droids.
Oh,
No droids in
I'm
this
sorry.
episode.
I'm sorry. I'm droidsist. I don't like them droids because of the Clone Wars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't really get a sense of that until later.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, I get it. Yeah, all
that
right.
makes sense. That makes sense. I get it.
Purely justified in why we discriminate these people.
We don't want your tie down here.
I guess I haven't thought too much about this, but I guess like being a Jedi would be cool. You know, growing up, like you see Jedis and you're like, that's awesome. So yeah, I'd probably choose to be a Jedi if I have that option.
I always debate that. Just like, be a Jedi, or like, you have no possessions and all you have are just like fun adventures.
But how freeing is that?
Is it freeing? Because you don't get to choose your adventures. You're just like a secret agent. And you're like, here's your mission. And then you just do it. And you're expected to do it. Or like, oh, he died? Oh, he's one with the Force now. Okay. I debate that. Like, is it being a Jedi?
It's not an
As
easy
glamour.
life.
I
I mean,
think it's hard.
they talk about how, like, I think in episode 1, he says, being a Jedi is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it's like
No attachments.
no attachment is huge.
Yeah.
And they talk about that, like, you think Obi-Wan he had a love interest.
He did.
Mhm.
Those who do not know, he did have. If you watch the Clone Wars TV show, he did have a love interest.
I just saw that episode today. It was cool.
It's out there where it's not alone where Anakin falls in love, and that is part of the attachment thing. And I was like, wow, that's really hard because you never realize how attached you are to things and people, and not to have that kind of emotion and to have like the Force. So I think it's cool. You want to be a Jedi. Man, I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know what to do that. I was not expecting this question. I was expecting like what in the universe of working at Disney, and I was like, I want to be the pink short boom guy.
Oh, yeah.
Just like hanging out. You're like, whoa, I've got small pink shorts, and I'm in the middle of like Tunisia.
Just why don't you explain what that is? Because I think a lot of people do not know what the pink short guy.
So for those who've seen behind the scenes of A New Hope and like the making of, there's this guy that sticks out like a sore thumb. Granted, this is 1976, where or 77, or no, 75, where this guy, he's got really high up pink shorts and a tight shirt, and he's in the middle of the Tunisian desert with a big giant boom mic, and he's just there. You just see him in all these scenes. You're like, that guy's cool. Like, he's doing life correct. He's in Star Wars, and he's just got the easy jump. It's like, yeah, guys, what's going on? I'm just collecting sound in the middle of the desert, and I'm wearing pink shorts. I don't know. I just love that idea. But going to what your real question is.
The real question.
The real question. I don't know. I never put myself, like, I've thought about, like, you want, like, oh, my Jedi, my Sith, and, like, I don't want to be a Sith. That's very cutthroat. It's like being in Wall Street where you're, so I don't really have, I mean, being a rebel is very tough because you're just relying off of hope.
Always on the run.
Yeah, you're on the run.
Always
It's
on the
hope.
run.
There's, like, you're just barely surviving.
I think, like, for me, a close second would be, like, a Mandalorian. That would be fun.
Yeah, that's a tough life, too. That's like being a Jedi.
Like being like a bounty hunter sort of
Yeah.
character.
I'm with Mark. I'll probably be like a bartender.
And that's funny because I was actually
no.
But I will change mine up.
Okay.
I'll change mine up. I'm going to be the guy who's in charge of the hangars at a spaceport.
Okay.
So you're the guy. You get to see the cool ships come in. Like, you just deal with the refueling. Like, you probably get to hear all the cool stories as they come in, as you're repairing their ships or whatnot. Like, I think that would be one job that I would probably enjoy, just hearing people's stories. Either that or I'd be like a performer, not at Jabba's palace. I will not be a performer at Jabba's palace, but
they're the guy who plays the piano and he's the blue elephant.
So, like, yeah, I mean, I could see myself being a performer because I like performing. So, I can see myself performing in some sort of bar, restaurant, cantina, whatever.
But I think it's just really hard to be in that galaxy.
Yes,
It is very
I
hard.
think it's a hard life. Whatever, you are.
That's why I
it's a struggle.
That's why I asked the question. It's a difficult question.
I think just thinking about it, I'd probably be like a merchant, like transporter, like not a smuggler, but just somebody that moves cargo and stuff like that. And you've got the adventures of going out into wild space, seeing new planets. I think that would probably be my second closest thing. Not to piggyback off Mark, and like because I wasn't prepared for my answer. So
I wasn't prepared either. I was just throwing one out there.
it was good.
Yeah.
Well, this was very fun. I enjoyed this. We are totally going to do this again, regardless of Jackie's facial expression right now, where it's like, no, not again.
Hey, I love Star Wars. I just am intimidated around you three.
There's a lot to it, to that whole universe.
We are superior
itself.
beings. We are Star Wars fans.
But we'll be I know we're going to be talking about, by the time this episode comes out, The Mandalorian will have just come out, so we'll talk plenty of that coming up soon.
Of course.
Yes.
Which, again, we haven't seen it because it doesn't come out for a little bit, so spoiler to we record this beforehand.
What?
I'm ruining the magic. Yeah.
Dare you?
We'll come around and we'll have probably like a review of The Mandalorian Season 2, which comes out the end of October. Is it October 30th, I believe, is when
Yes.
the first episode is.
That's right.
So we won't review anything until after the season has ended. So give you plenty of opportunity to watch that season before we go and talk about it. So
Yeah.
yes,
And I'd like to talk about also in the future where we want Star Wars to go.
absolutely.
Because you just finished up a trilogy of trilogies, you know, the saga has ended, and maybe kind of like, well, where does it go now?
And there's definitely a lot of rumors out there, which maybe the season 2 of The Mandalorian might lead to more of that discussion.
I can't wait.
So that's all the time we have today, folks. Thank you for joining us for this spectacular Star Wars episode. Please join us on our social medias, Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe on wherever you listen to your podcast, as well as YouTube, where we have the episodes up on YouTube. No video of us per se, but just the audio that is available on YouTube. So please subscribe wherever you can. It all helps. You can also get a hold of us on those social medias as well as on our email at matterhornyodelers@gmail.com. Yeah, and that's all we have. Thank you for joining us. Yubnub.
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 May the force be with you.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.